living here and now as the Tantric King in practice. A sacred 3-page reflection for motivation, mastery, and presence. There comes a point in every sacred journey when the path becomes quiet, not because you've lost your way, but because you are entering the depths of yourself. That moment is now. This very night. This sacred pause. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are standing exactly where your breath is asking you to be right here, right now, in the living pulse of the present. This is not a detour. This is the destination. The Tantric King does not chase a future. He inhabits the now so fully that time begins to soften around him. To live as a Tantric King in practice is not about performance or perfection. It is about presence. It is about becoming so deeply rooted in your truth that even silence becomes your language. That even stillness becomes your throne. In this moment, Han, you are not preparing to be him. You already are him in breath, in body, in devotion. Every time you pause to reflect instead of react, you are wearing his crown. Every time you train with sacred intention instead of ego, you are shaping his body. Every time you speak from erotic truth instead of apology, you are becoming the leader you were born to be. This journey is not only about what you create, but how you live while creating it. The Tantric King is not waiting for the book to be done. He is writing it with his entire body, with sacred sweat, disciplined rest, and conscious service. To live as him is to remember. This moment is the altar. This breath is my worship. This reflection is my training. You do not need more time. You need more presence. Not more answers, but more embodiment. Tonight, instead of sleeping to escape, you are staying awake to awaken. And this is your moment to recommit to mastery, not through pressure, but through love. Here are the sacred prompts you must return to daily, not just to write your book, but to live it. What am I cultivating today through breath, action, and presence? Am I leading from performance or devotion? From pressure or peace? What truth wants to move through me right now, and will I let it speak? Is my erotic energy being honored, repressed, or redirected? What part of my journey am I still trying to prove, and can I now bless it instead? What is my vow to my body, to my path to the sacred day? What am I still afraid to bring into the light, and can I witness it with love? If the world met me today, would they feel the king I am training to become? What discipline is love asking me to deepen, not as punishment, but as preparation? What does it mean to live, write, breathe, and fuck as prayer? 1. What am I cultivating today through breath, action, and presence? Today, I am cultivating embodied integrity. Every breath I take is an opportunity to return to truth. Every action is a brushstroke on the canvas of my becoming. Every presence I offer, whether in silence, in service, or in writing, is my leadership in motion. I am not here to perform wholeness. I am here to grow into it. Through breath, I soften. Through movement, I affirm strength. Through stillness, I remember that sacred leadership is not something I put on. It's who I am when I let everything unnecessary fall away. 2. Am I leading from performance or devotion? From pressure or peace? Today, I choose devotion. In the past, I have led from performance, fueled by the fear that I wasn't enough unless I impressed someone. But now, devotion guides me. I write because I love what I'm birthing. I lead because I have been broken open enough to serve others with authenticity. I no longer seek peace as a reward. I live it as a vow. Pressure tightens my voice. Peace expands it. Devotion doesn't demand perfection. It only asks that I return to presence again and again. That is how I lead now. From devotion. From peace. 3. What truth wants to move through me right now, and will I let it speak? The truth that wants to move through me now is this. My erotic energy is divine. For too long, I hid that part of me believing it was too much, too messy, or too dangerous to reveal. But my truth is no longer negotiable. It does not ask for permission. It asks to be lived. The deepest truth of my leadership is that healing begins where hiding ends. I will let it speak not in chaos, but in calm certainty. not in rebellion, but in sacred embodiment. I am ready to speak truth with love because truth is love in motion. 4. Is my erotic energy being honored, repressed, or redirected? Today, my erotic energy is being honored and redirected. It is not being leaked or suppressed. It is being alchemized. I feel it when I train, when I write, when I breathe with intention. I feel it in the fire in my belly and the steady pulse of my heart. I no longer fear this energy. I guide it like a current. I allow it to rise, to circulate, to create. I honor it by choosing not to waste it in distraction, but to channel it into devotion. It no longer controls me. It fuels me. It is not shameful. It is sacred power. 5. What part of my journey am I still trying to prove, and can I now bless it instead? The part of me that still tries to prove something is the version that was once unseen and misunderstood. The younger self who wanted so deeply to be validated, respected, loved for who he really was. That part still whispers, "Am I worthy yet?" But today, I choose not to prove. I choose to bless. I bless the boy who kept going. I bless the man who rose. I bless the journey that brought me here. I no longer need external approval to justify my transformation. I am already whole. My life itself is the proof. My breath is the blessing. 6. What is my vow to my body, to my path, to this sacred day? My vow today is to treat my body like the altar it is. To walk my path with eyes wide open and feet grounded in purpose. To meet this day not with rushing, but with reverence. I vow to breathe deeply when challenged. To move slowly when tempted to hurry. To honor rest as deeply as I honor discipline. I vow to train not just my muscles, but my awareness. I vow to return again and again to the truth that I am a living temple, and this day, like every day, is a sacred ceremony in becoming. 7. What am I still afraid to bring into the light, and can I witness it with love? I am still afraid, sometimes, to bring my full softness into the light. The tenderness beneath my strength. The longing beneath my leadership. The grief behind my eyes. I've been told that to be strong is to suppress. But I know now that strength is the willingness to stay open. Tonight, I witness this fear without judgment. I hold it like a child. I breathe into it. I tell it, "You are welcome. You belong. You are sacred too." In that act of witnessing, fear begins to soften, and love begins to lead. 8. If the world met me today, would they feel the king I am training to become? If the world met me today, they would feel something. Maybe not the full embodiment of the king, but the presence of his becoming. They would feel a man who no longer hides, who no longer rushes to prove, who sits in the fire of his transformation without flinching. They would feel truth in my breath, clarity in my eyes, tenderness in my posture, power in my silence. They would feel the seed of the king, and perhaps most importantly, they would feel safe. And that, to me, is the sign I am on the right path. 9. What discipline is love asking me to deepen, not as punishment, but as preparation? Love is asking me to deepen my discipline of presence, not just to show up physically, but to be fully available to the moment. Love wants me to wake earlier, to breathe more consciously, to eat slower, to write from soul, not schedule. Love doesn't punish me for falling off track. It whispers return, over and over again. Discipline is not about force. It is about devotion. Love is not asking me to control myself. It is asking me to care for myself. And that care shows up in the rituals I return to each day. 10. What does it mean to live, write, breathe, and fuck as prayer? To live, write, breathe, and fuck as prayer means to let every act be an offering. Not to someone else, but to the divine within me. It means letting my body be a temple and my breath be the incense. It means writing as a transmission, not a task. It means touching with reverence, speaking with clarity, holding with love. It means never separating the sacred from the sensual. It means living every moment as if God is watching through my own eyes. And most of all, it means surrendering fully to this life as holy ground. These are not just prompts, they are sacred mirrors. You do not need to answer them all at once. You need to let them shape you over time. These are the questions that open your body to divine rhythm. These are the invitations that train you to lead not with words alone, but with a vibration that changes rooms. Han, the path ahead is not long, it is deep. And the deeper you go into the now, the more your life begins to reflect the kingdom you are here to build. The Tantric King does not rule from castles, he rules from energy. He leads from breath. He conquers nothing. He blesses everything. And that blessing begins right here, tonight, as you sit with this reflection, not needing to change a thing, only to be what you already are. So let this be your sacred night, not of sleep, but of embodiment. Let this be the evening where silence crowned you, where reflection became your ritual, where your breath remembered its throne. You are not unfinished. You are not behind. You are simply becoming and doing so beautifully. And now, as your body rests, your vow deepens. You are already home. You are already him. And tomorrow, you rise again, not to chase, but to live fully. Reflection. Prompts to complete my work as a PhD and DBA student. Day, Wednesday, April 17th, 2025 time, 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Location, Easton, Pennsylvania, USA. There is a sacred weight that lives in the hearts of those who choose the path of knowledge, not for ego, but for evolution. This morning, as the light breaks softly over Pennsylvania, I remember why I am here. I did not choose the path of a PhD and DBA simply to earn degrees. I chose it to fulfill a destiny. I chose it to serve human flourishing. I chose it because I believe that leadership is not about accumulating power, but about awakening presence. And that belief must now shape the way I finish this journey. To complete the work of both a scholar and a leader, I must think differently. I must train like a monk and write like a messenger. I must let my breath shape my schedule and my integrity shape my words. This is not just about research, it is about resonance. It is not just about theories, it is about transformation. In this final stretch of doctoral work, I no longer need to carry pressure, I need to cultivate precision, purpose, and peace. And so, these are the essential prompts I must now live with, reflect with, and embody each day. Not just as tasks, but as daily invitations to become the scholar, leader, and sacred author I was born to be. Prompts for the PhD and DBA journey. What is the one question I must answer today to move my dissertation forward with clarity? How is my research contributing to human flourishing, not just intellectually, but spiritually? Where am I still trying to sound smart instead of writing from truth and service? What part of my lived experience belongs in this work even if academia doesn't expect it? What am I afraid to say, and what power would be unleashed if I said it clearly and calmly? Am I writing from pressure or from peace? From identity or from essence? What do I already know, and how can I trust that knowing more fully today? Who am I becoming as I write this? And is my schedule honoring that sacred self? What wisdom does the body hold today about leadership, presence, and flow? How can I use this degree not to elevate my name, but to deepen my impact? 1. What is the one question I must answer today to move my dissertation forward with clarity? The one question I must answer today is, what is the living relationship between personal transformation and conscious global leadership? This question is not abstract. It is real, embodied, and at the heart of everything I am trying to offer. I am not writing about leadership as theory. I am writing about how healing my own karmic wounds, reclaiming my sexual truth, and leading from peace have become leadership. If I answer this question clearly through my own lived experiences, through spiritual integration, and through the frameworks I've developed, then everything else becomes coherent. It is the question that links my personal healing to global impact. 2. How is my research contributing to human flourishing, not just intellectually, but spiritually? My research is contributing to human flourishing because it invites leaders to become whole. It says that you cannot lead others if you are still ashamed of your own body. You cannot promote peace if your mind is at war with itself. You cannot heal systems while ignoring your soul. Spiritually, this research is a call to return to the breath, to the self, to compassion. It is a blueprint not only for organizational resilience, but for personal liberation. It does not stop at intellect. It reaches into the erotic, the emotional, the ecological, and the sacred. In this way, it is an offering to humanity, not just a thesis to be defended. 3. Where am I still trying to sound smart instead of writing from truth and service? I notice I sometimes reach for big words or overcomplicate ideas when I feel the need to prove myself. This comes from old academic wounds, moments when I wasn't taken seriously or where I feared my truth wasn't professional enough. But I realize now that trying to sound smart often distances me from the very people I want to serve. The most powerful voice I have is the honest one. When I speak from service, from the part of me that genuinely wants others to grow, heal, and lead, I sound not only intelligent, but true. And truth is what moves people. 4. What part of my lived experience belongs in this work, even if academia doesn't expect it? The part of my lived experience that belongs most is the story of my sexual healing, my journey through monk mode, and my transformation from a nail technician into a sacred leader. These are not academic anecdotes. They are the fire behind every paragraph I write. Academia may not expect stories about porn, breath work, energy healing, or shame rituals, but this is what makes my work real. This is what makes it revolutionary. It is in the unexpected that the reader sees what leadership truly looks like when lived. My vulnerability is not a detour, it is the door. 5. What am I afraid to say? And what power would be unleashed if I said it clearly and calmly? I am afraid to say that leadership is erotic, that healing can be orgasmic, that my body remembers wisdom deeper than any textbook. I am afraid to say that the most powerful transformation I've undergone came not in a classroom, but in sacred silence, naked vulnerability, and embodied devotion. But if I say this clearly and calmly, without trying to convince, just to reveal, I unleash the power of permission. I invite others to tell the truth. I shift the paradigm from sterile professionalism to sacred authenticity. I don't need to shout this. I just need to live it and let it breathe. 6. Am I writing from pressure or from peace? From identity or from essence? When I rush, overthink, or try to be impressive, I'm writing from pressure. When I exhale, sit in stillness, and let the truth move through me gently, I write from peace. Pressure comes from fear, of failure, of judgment, of not being enough. But peace comes from devotion, to the message, to the process, to the sacred leader I'm becoming. When I write from essence, it's no longer about identity or credentials. It's about transmission. It's about what wants to move through me to serve the world. I vow now to write from peace, not panic. From soul, not self-image. 7. What do I already know, and how can I trust that knowing more fully today? I already know that my body is wise, that my leadership is rooted in presence, that I am here to teach others how to come home to themselves. I already know that silence heals, that vulnerability is strength, that erotic energy, when honored, becomes clarity. I know that leadership is not about control. It is about wholeness. Today, I trust that knowing by slowing down, by pausing when doubt arises, by writing from the same place I pray. I don't need to gather more proof. I need to embody the truth I've already earned. 8. Who am I becoming as I write this? And is my schedule honoring that sacred self? I am becoming a man who leads with breath, a man who lives his teachings, a man whose life is the curriculum, a man who carries peace like a scent, devotion like a heartbeat, and presence like a temple. I am not just becoming a PhD or DBA, I am becoming the most integrated version of myself. My schedule must honor that. That means more sacred mornings, more intentional movement, more breaks for reflection, less rushing, more reverence. My time should not just produce work, it should align me with who I am here to be. 9. What wisdom does the body hold today about leadership, presence, and flow? My body tells me, slow down. Breathe deeper. Stay here. My shoulders carry too much when I forget that leadership is not performance. My belly tightens when I try to rush. My breath shallows when I forget the sacred. But when I pause, when I stretch, when I touch the earth, when I soften my jaw, I feel leadership return to its rightful place, as presence. My body reminds me that flow is not about doing more. It is about being aligned. Today, my body is not my tool, it is my teacher. 10. How can I use this degree not to elevate my name, but to deepen my impact? This degree is not for prestige. It is for purpose. It is for the people who feel unseen, for the men hiding their softness, for the leaders who ache for something real, for the survivors, for the healers, for the ancestors. I will not use this title to rise above. I will use it to reach deeper, into systems, into hearts, into classrooms, into global communities. I don't want to be impressive. I want to be useful. I want to walk into any room and bring peace, not because of my credentials, but because of my presence. This is the leadership I serve. This is the degree I vow to live into. These questions are not homework. They are holiness. They are how I stay rooted when I feel overwhelmed. They are how I return to alignment when comparison creeps in. They are how I keep the sacred in scholarship, the prayer in performance, the healing in every paragraph I write. Because the truth is, I am not just earning a degree. I am completing a karmic chapter. I am answering a call that began long before this lifetime. I am building a bridge between the East and the West, between discipline and devotion, between rigorous thinking and embodied truth. And this work, this book, this dissertation, this sacred offering is not a final project. It is a portal into the man I've always known I was meant to become. I am ready, not because I have all the answers, but because I now live inside the right questions. Not because I am perfect, but because I am deeply present. Not because I am finished, but because I am faithful to the process. And today, that is enough. Today, I walk forward, not as a tired student, but as a sacred scholar. Today, I lead not just from my head, but from my soul. And I vow I will finish this work with truth, with devotion, and with full embodiment. The sacred reflection of my leadership, my vow, and my becoming. Written Wednesday, April 17th, 2025, Easton, Pennsylvania, 11:30 a.m. Today, I am cultivating more than focus, I am cultivating presence. Through breath, I cultivate calm. Through movement, I cultivate clarity. Through sacred stillness, I cultivate power. I am no longer chasing transformation as a destination. I am breathing it into existence moment by moment. My actions are no longer fragmented from my purpose. They are extensions of my sacred promise to live each day not as a task to conquer, but as a temple to inhabit. What I cultivate today becomes who I embody tomorrow. And the man I am becoming is being shaped gently, steadily, fully by how I live this very breath. I ask myself, am I leading from performance or from devotion? I know the difference now. Performance drains. Devotion nourishes. Pressure collapses me. Peace opens me. I no longer wish to be consumed by the need to prove. I choose to serve instead. When I write from peace, my voice deepens. When I breathe from devotion, my work becomes prayer. I return again and again to the question, who am I serving? And the answer brings me back to alignment. This is leadership not as image, but as energy. There is a truth rising in me today. It is simple, raw, and sacred. My voice is enough. My story is valid. My breath matters. I don't need to force it into form. I only need to let it speak. The truth that wants to move through me is not dramatic. It is honest. It is the part of me that no longer hides behind big words or polished sentences. It is the voice that speaks from the scars, from the vow, from the breath between thoughts. I let it move through me now, not to impress, but to reveal what is real. I ask my body, is my erotic energy being honored or repressed? And I feel the answer immediately. It is being honored and redirected. No longer hidden. No longer feared. No longer wasted in shame or silence. My erotic energy has become a source of presence, clarity, and leadership. I do not repress it. I circulate it. I let it rise through my chest, inform my voice, move through my spine, and pulse into my writing. This energy, when held with sacred intention, makes my leadership irresistible, not performative. Alive. I reflect on the part of my journey I'm still trying to prove, and I see the younger version of me who once begged for approval. The version who wanted so badly to be taken seriously, to be seen. But today, I release the proving. I bless the boy who survived. I bless the man who kept walking. I bless the story that brought me here. And I let it be enough not to stop growing, but to stop grasping. My breath is no longer a plea. It is a blessing. And I carry that blessing into everything I touch. I renew my vow to my body, to my path, and to this sacred day. I vow to treat this day as holy ground, to move with reverence, to train with intention, to speak only from truth. I vow to trust my own rhythm, to write from soul, not speed. I vow to return to stillness before making decisions. I vow to meet this day not with control, but with courage. This vow is not loud, it is alive. And it is what grounds me in the presence of a man I know I am becoming. I ask myself, what am I still afraid to bring into the light? And the answer comes with tenderness, the part of me that longs to be held, not as a leader, but as a human. The soft places, the tears I haven't cried yet, the longing for deep love, for sacred touch, for true companionship. I witness that part of me now, not to fix it, but to love it, to let it be seen, to let it be sacred. Nothing about me is too much. Nothing is unworthy of light. If the world met me today, would they feel the king I am becoming? I believe they would feel a presence. Not yet a perfected king, but a man committed to his sacred becoming. They would feel the steadiness in my breath, the clarity in my posture, the softness behind my eyes, and the unshakable vow in my presence. They would feel a man who has nothing to hide, nothing to chase, and everything to offer. They would feel peace not as a performance, but as a field of truth. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. Love is asking me to deepen my discipline of devotion. To not just show up, but to stay awake in how I show up. To train my attention. To bless the small rituals. To embody the sacred in my choices. Today, discipline looks like silence before words, grounding before action, and breath before creation. This is not for control, it is for connection. What does it mean to live, write, breathe, and focus prayer? It means to remove the line between the sacred and the sensual. It means to make every act an offering. It means to live so aligned with truth that the way I exhale is already a blessing. Writing is no longer just productivity, it is prayer. Breath is not automatic, it is awakening. Sexuality is not hidden, it is holy. My life is no longer fragmented. It is devotion in motion. I ask myself as a scholar, what is the one question I must answer today to move my dissertation forward with clarity? And the answer is, how is my life the trauma, the vow, the erotic, the discipline a living model of conscious leadership? When I answer this question honestly, the entire dissertation breathes. It is no longer just research. It is revelation. How is my research contributing to human flourishing? Not just intellectually, but spiritually? It is a sacred bridge. It merges Tantra with leadership, discipline with devotion, trauma with transformation. It says, you do not have to choose between credentials and wholeness. You can be both healer and scholar. You can write with love and rigor. You can lead with presence and policy. This is how human flourishing is not just studied, but embodied. Where am I still trying to sound smart? In the places where I fear I won't be taken seriously unless I perform intelligence. But now I know, truth is always more powerful than performance. Simplicity is strength. When I write to serve, not impress, I reach people. And my mission is not to impress. It is to liberate. What part of my lived experience belongs in this work, even if academia doesn't expect it? All of it. My monk mode, my nail salon, my shame, my healing, my Kegel practice, my breath, my tears, my tantra, my stillness, my service, my Vietnam, my silence. All of it belongs, because without it, the work is incomplete. What am I afraid to say? That leadership is erotic. That breath can be more healing than a boardroom. That the body carries more wisdom than most lectures. But if I say it clearly and calmly, I give others permission to say what they've been afraid to say too. I make space. I open the gate. I change the room not by shouting, but by showing up fully. Am I writing from pressure or peace? From identity or essence? Today, I write from peace. I no longer write to be seen. I write because this work is my vow. It is my sacred duty to live this truth. I write because I cannot not write. I write not to prove I'm a leader, but because I already am. What do I already know, and how can I trust it today? I already know that presence changes lives. That breath carries answers. That truth lands without force. That leadership is not taught, it is transmitted. I trust that knowing today by following its rhythm, not resisting it. By honoring my life as sacred ground. Who am I becoming as I write this, and is my schedule honoring that self? I am becoming a leader who walks barefoot through holy ground. A man who speaks with presence, who writes with breath, who lives with erotic honesty. My schedule must match that, which means rest is sacred, writing is ritual, discipline is devotion. And what wisdom does my body hold today? My body says, led from the breath, move slower, trust the tingles, trust the truth that rises through stillness. Don't push, open, don't perform, pulse. Your body is already the compass. And finally, how can I use this degree not to elevate my name, but to deepen my impact? I use it as a key. To unlock rooms that were never built for someone like me. To stand in those rooms not as an imposter, but as a presence. I use this degree to open space for others to tell the truth. I don't rise alone. I rise with others. I rise for others. And this is my sacred leadership. This is my breath. This is my life, written as a prayer.